We are now going to have a more detailed look at the organs of the digestive system. Here on the right you have an overview, and here on the left a more detailed drawing of the liver, the gallbladder and the pancreas. So let's start here at the top. Digestion of course starts in the mouth. The mouth is not only limited to the front part over here, but it refers to the whole mouth cavity. You can see over here the salivary glands, which mix the food with saliva, which contains the enzyme amylase, which is important for starch digestion. The food, as you probably already know, stays in the mouth only a few minutes, and when it is swallowed, it passes down the esophagus, and the food only stays in here for a few seconds until it reaches the stomach. In the stomach you have a lot of hydrochloric acid, HCl. The pH is very low, and therefore the food can be digested more easily. Specifically, proteins are digested in the stomach. So we're down here. So it's supposed to represent the food, and then the digested food is passed on into the small intestine, which is quite long, several meters long, around 6 to 7 meters. And after the food is digested and also absorption occurs here, it passes on into the large intestine, where water absorption takes place. So up to this point the food is still very liquid, but in the large intestine, which is this green part over here, the water is removed from the food, and the feces is then stored in the rectum before it is eliminated. Please do know the sequence of these organs and also what happens in these organs. So mouth, physical and chemical digestion. Esophagus, it's simply there's not a lot of digestion happening because the food does not stay here very long. Stomach, mostly protein digestion. In the small intestine, digestion of proteins and lipids, I'm going to talk about this later, continues, and also absorption into the blood. Large intestine is the absorption of water, and the rectum is for the storage of the feces before it is eliminated. Over here we have more, on the left side, a more detailed, a slightly larger drawing. You can again see over here the stomach and the liver. The gallbladder is this green one over here, this green organ over here, and the pancreas. However, you're also going to see that the food does not pass through the liver or the pancreas, but they are still important for digestion because they produce and store certain substances which are needed for digestion. So here is the labeled drawing. So what happens at the liver? I'm going to write this down over here. In the liver, the absorbed food molecules are passed through, and the liver detoxifies. It detoxifies the blood, so it removes and breaks down harmful substances. And the liver also produces a substance called bile, and this bile is then passed on into the gallbladder, and the gallbladder stores the bile until it is needed for digestion. So what does the bile do? The bile is responsible for the emulsification of fats. And an emulsification is the breakdown of a large fat droplet into smaller fat droplets. So chemically, it's still fats, it's still a lipid, so it is a physical process. We move on. The gallbladder, as I already mentioned, stores the bile. It stores the bile in here until it is needed, and it's then given off into the small intestine. We move on. The pancreas is this yellow structure over here, a little bit hidden behind the stomach and the large intestine. The pancreas produces enzymes, specifically lipase and amylase. And these are given off also into the small intestine. The duodenum is the first part of the small intestine. But it not only produces enzymes for digestion, but also it produces carbonates. And these carbonates are important for neutralizing the acid content of the stomach. The pH in here is around 1.5 to 2, and the pH in the duodenum over here is around, let's say, 7. So it's neutral. How do you neutralize this? Well, the carbonates. So it's neutralizing the contents, the digestive contents, I should rather say. I do not want to say stomach contents, because this would imply that you neutralize the inside of the stomach. This does not happen. Once the food has been passed into the duodenum, this is where the place where neutralization of the food takes place. So that is basically it. Oh, yes, for a later topic, the pancreas also produces important hormones, but these things are not directly relevant for digestion. And the duodenum starts over here at the end of the stomach, and that is nothing more than the first part of the small intestine. And the ducts from the gallbladder and from the pancreas, they join over here, and there's a duct going into the duodenum. Okay, so it's right after the stomach, and it goes on a few centimeters into the small intestine. Okay, so this was an overview over the different organs involved in digestion.